What's up, Bronco Nation? Happy Saturday to you. Hey, glad to have you here for another episode of Bronco Nation Live, a production of Bronco Nation Updates and Blue Elevation. He's Sam with Sam Talk Sports. I'm Nick with Bronco Nation Updates, and today we are joined by Jonathan Yates. He is positioned in Texas. He's a high school Texas coach for football. Also licensed with USA Basketball. So welcome to the show, Jonathan. We are going to be talking about, the pool from talent in Texas. That's where we get a lot of our running backs and some wide receivers and stuff like that. But and also we will also talk about NCAA college basketball as we're getting into March Madness season. We're about 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday. So welcome on in, Jonathan. How you doing?
Good, man. Everything going well?
Everything's great with me.
Awesome.
So our friend Sam Gillette over there with Sam Talk Sports said that you got a good pulse on some of the talent in Texas. So why don't you give us just give us an intro on you and what we can look forward to seeing and for C26 and beyond in the good old state of Texas.
All right. Like I said, my name is Jonathan Yates. My title at Brad Adams High School Leadership Academy is the AVID coordinator. I'm a lead assistant basketball coach, as well as the head JV basketball. I actually don't coach football. I used to, and then I was able to get out of that. So that was good for me to get out of that, especially in Texas. Football is king, so it kind of consumes you if you do that all the time. But I'm definitely geared towards basketball. And anybody that's not familiar with AVID, it's an acronym. It stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. It's a college and career prep course program for students that come from underrepresented backgrounds. So we help kids get to college and stay in college that may have nobody else that has gone in their family to that level. So they don't have the background to know what to expect when they get there. That's kind of where we step in. Like, here's some good study habits for you. Here's what the FAFSA is. Here's what you need to know in college, so on and so forth. So it's been a wild ride for me.
Nice. So tell us about your credentials with the USA Basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. So every year, USA Basketball puts out an opportunity for coaches across the nation to get certified with USA Basketball. It wouldn't necessarily put you in line to coach with them, but I am USA Basketball Gold licensed, meaning that every country in the world except for America, it seems, the developed nations that have youth basketball, there's some sort of certification program that every one of them go through. So USA Basketball has that available for coaches so that, they understand what it takes within practices. They understand safety and security protocols, first aid, all of those go into having that license. So just let you know, okay, this person is true and real about what they're going to do. It's not just going to wake up and play coach, so to speak. Because that is a big problem that we have in the U.S. right now, which is why the world's catching up. You start watching the Olympics and the World Games, the world is catching up with what USA Basketball is, just as it goes, because, we have a lot of people that think they know everything. And so they just want to get into it from that versus going through the particular protocols.
What's your coaching style? Are you a half court or are you a run and gun?
Oh, I'd like to get up and down. It's fun for everybody to be able to do that. Some of the pillars that we like to try to instill is is play fast, play free. I don't want a lot of structure necessarily. There's some that's structured chaos, so to speak.
Nice.
Like, hey, it's a read and react. If the defense does this, do this. If they go this way, do this. If he does this, then you on the backside do this. So there's parameters in which they'll play. But getting up and down, like I said, it makes it fun for the kids. It makes it fun for the fans. It's a fun style if you're able to actually execute it.
Awesome. I had a question that only a coach can answer.
All right.
If you're against your rival or a top-ranked opponent, and you're playing them tight all the way up to the final maybe 3 minutes, and then they start to pull away at the end, how do you refocus your squad so that they don't just get absolutely railroaded in that final 3 minutes after they've played such a great game up to that point? And at what point do you realize we've lost this game, and how do you handle that?
I think the biggest thing is if you see it starting to get out of hand, don't be afraid to use your timeouts.
Right.
Try to get the guys refocused in that way. But really the biggest thing is just have them look at the scoreboard and just go back to what has been working and what are we getting away from. I really like a player-led team in a sense. Yeah. So I like for the guys to have something to say in our timeout huddle. Even though it's the JV and sometimes with the varsity level, it's what are you seeing? Right. You're the one on the court playing. This is what we think, but what are you seeing? And then we can always make an adjustment from there.
Yeah. Even in college this year, there's been so many upsets and so many close games, and teams that you don't think should be in it are being in it, and teams that you think should be running away aren't running away.
Right.
And even coaches that use their timeouts to stop those late game runs, you still see them. I can't remember the game I was watching off the top of my head, but I was thinking about that going, man, they've played such a great game up until this point. I think it was the Texas Tech game. They played such a great game up to this point, and they're just losing it right here at the end. No timeouts left. You're basically have to try and foul to extend the game. But at some point, they're making their free throws, and you're not making your shots to close that gap. And at some point, it's like, this isn't going to go our way. But how do you not show that emotion on your face once you realize it's just not going to happen? We can play to the end, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's all about positive language. Letting the guys know to keep the fight, always fight to the end, because it's more than just what's happening on the basketball court.
Yeah,
it's a life thing too, because throughout life you're always going to face some sort of adversity. But when it gets hard, you can't stop what you're doing. You have to keep going, and that's kind of the push on that level. Is just, hey, you got to keep the fight, keep fighting. Now, once it gets down to about 10 seconds left, we're down 14. Okay, we can pull back a little bit, just time run.
Yeah.
But, if it's still an 8-point game and there's still 12 seconds left, and weirder things have happened. Right. But it's you're probably going to lose that game, but it's still, clap them up and tell them, keep fighting, keep pushing, keep pressuring.
I don't remember who it was a couple weeks ago. It might have been last week, but they were at 12, down 12 with 13 seconds left. Ended up coming back and winning. So
just never know in this game, man.
Yeah. Yep.
How about one time we had a game this year for the Broncos. They were down, I believe they were down 3, less than a second. They had timeouts in that case, and in that case they didn't call a timeout. They ran it down and then had a really poor percentage shot. In that case, you could go either way, right? So you could call a timeout knowing that there's a potential when you're throwing it back in that they would just foul you, so you're at the line for 2, or in this case they didn't call the timeout and they ran it and tried to tie it up with a 3. What is your thought on taking timeouts in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, it really depends on the time, just because, with the college game and also in high school, you don't have the timeout advance. So, if I'm all the way down the end of the court, I'd call a timeout. I'm now taking it out 94 feet, or at 75 feet away from the basket at best. But if I know the guy can push it up the court and get us a semi-decent shot, hey, go. Let's.
Yeah.
But if you've got guys and it's something that you've worked on before, then a timeout in that situation with the well-executed play could give you a better shot. Just really depends on what you've done leading up to that. What I've learned, and I've made this mistake as a younger coach, is you can't just draw it up in the huddle and hope they execute it. It's got to be something that you've practiced and said, here's our home run play.
Yeah. Was I supposed to do that? No, you were.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 8 years ago or so. I don't know why I remember this one. We had a full court heave, and I was like, okay, you guys are going to go forward across. You're going to break up and break back. You're going to hurl this here, double screen here. And then it went out and just completely ran the entire wrong play. The inbounder threw it to the opposite side and then sprinted down the floor. I'm like, that's not what I said. So that kind of let me know, like, okay, this is on me. That's on me for not having something ready in that case.
Yeah. Do you practice home run balls at every practice?
We don't necessarily do it every practice, but it is something when we're doing some different walkthroughs. Like, hey, here's this play. We'll call it whatever. Call it white or whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah.
I think for me, like what happened, what was kind of crushing for me is like that whole game. It just seemed like, the other team, I believe it was the Utah State game actually, when we were down in Logan. Yeah. And the whole game, it just seemed like they could predict where we were going offensively. So I was hoping that maybe if we had the ability to call timeout, call up, drop a play that, they knew for that, for that instance. And, then they'd come up court and then they'd be able to, just a matter of pass, shoot. That's what I was hoping, but, what they did was they ran it straight, full court. And then by the time they had a shot, it was almost like, it was the same thing happening from the entire game. The other team knew what we were doing, and they cut it off, and which left us a horrible percentage shot.
Yeah, and sometimes you just like could also be one of those. Hey, hindsight sometimes is 20/20, where you never know if it worked. It'd have been like, whoa, that coach is a genius. But if it goes the other way, then it's like, what is this idiot doing?
Right.
But sometimes the defense just beats the offense sometimes, or vice versa.
That brings me a question. If you're running your sets and you got your plays and you're up against a team that just they're beating you to your points basically, how do you coach that on the fly?
Yeah, they're just beating us to the spots.
Yeah, you're running your sets there. And you may not have been at the high school level. It may not happen as much, but you get guys that scout you and are in high profile games and they know, okay, this is your play. This is where they like to go. And then they get to those spots and force you into something different. How do you coach that on the fly and get your players to change their mindset?
Well, hopefully we've coached enough concepts within practice that, hey, play is going to break down sometimes. One of the things that I said almost 100 times a practice is a basketball decision will always supersede a basketball play.
Yeah.
In other words, if I'm supposed to have this kid coming from the corner off a double stagger screen, and that's where we want to hit him at the top of the key, but they send a defender there, but you've got the baseline drive, go score it.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait and just make a play just because we drew up a play.
Right.
Go play basketball. So, in that case, that's what I would say to that is just, hey, you got to play basketball right here. Like, where's the open spot? Where is the defense not?
Yeah.
Let's get it there.
So I got one more coaching question, and we can talk a little bit of the college basketball. With transfer portal and the possibility of JUCOs now, not counting towards your NCAA eligibility. How does that change the mindset of a high school basketball coach to get players ready to advance to that next level?
And that's a really good question. It's a conversation we have with our seniors every year, is that it is getting harder year by year for a high school senior to go up and play college basketball or college sports just in general now, because of that transfer portal. But unless you're one of the top 100 guys, you're not going to get a Division I offer. You're probably not going to be on a Division I roster because there's so many kids moving around. Because again, if I'm a college coach and I can get a 21 or 22-year-old student that is college ready, he's played JUCO or he's played Division II, he knows what the college schedule is like. He's nutritionally been at the college level. He's worked out at the college level. What makes me think I should get an 18-year-old that doesn't have any of that experiences over this 21, 22-year-old?
Yeah.
And so if you think in terms of that, as a high school coach, knowing that and knowing some guys that coach at that level, and that's their thought process, my suggestion to the guys is, one, it's about getting the body right. It's how we eat. So like I have a nutrition plan that I've given my high school guys, like, hey, this is one way to keep your body right. Stop eating the hot Cheetos. They love hot Cheetos, honey buns, but like, hey, here's how you should be eating. Here's what we need to do in the weight room. Here's what we need to do on the court. And then decision-making within the game of basketball is a huge, huge thing that would set a high school player apart from many other high school players. Like if you're able to make good decisions on the court, just like basketball decisions, you're going to already be ahead above some of the people in your class.
Yeah. Potentially, do you see something happening in the future with portals and everything? And if this JUCO rule stands, do you see a potential where colleges especially the brand name colleges, just don't recruit high school anymore and they just go after JUCO or NAIA players?
I mean, you're already seeing it. You're already seeing that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to Rick Pitino's St. John's press conference just a couple of weeks ago. He said, I'm not getting any high school guys. I've got, senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, and you can't replace that with a high school talent.
Right.
And, unless they're just a stud like a Cooper Flag.
Yeah. Right.
Like where do you fit in? So, and then if you look, I saw a graphic just recently, I think it was yesterday, where like out of the top seven college basketball teams right now, there are a total of 6 freshmen that are playing what you would call starter minutes.
Yeah. Speaking of top 7, on Tuesday I released my my top 25, and my top 7 it closely resembles the top 7 of the AP. It's not 100% there. Of course, it freezes on me. It would.
It's always going to do that. Technology is great.
Right. Yeah. It's great when you don't need it.
Correct.
So Auburn, obviously, there's not a team out there that's better than Auburn right now. I would take Auburn over everybody.
Correct.
They're my odds-on favorite to win it all. I mean, they are just too good. The SEC in general is just too good this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Final Four is all SEC teams, to be honest. So
it's a possibility.
Duke at number 2, Houston number 3, and Florida at number 4. Those are my number 1 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
You agree, disagree? Would you have Alabama or Tennessee up as a 1 seed?
I wouldn't say so right now. If you just go, resume stack for stack, I don't see why either a Tennessee or Alabama would jump a Houston or Florida, unless some kind of injury happens to one of those teams, and then it's like, or just something catastrophic happens in the last couple of games. I don't see where either of them should just jump them because.
Right. Do you agree that the NCAA's first or their last top 16 that came out in February when they did their committee top 16 with Houston at number 8, was that a head scratcher having them that low, or what do you think this was on that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go both ways with that, and the reason I say I'm going both ways on that is because Houston is just they're a good team as a whole, but when you look at all the other teams, they have a go-to guy.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you know that in Auburn, Broom is getting the ball.
Yeah.
And he's going to go make a play. You know, with Alabama, Mark Sears is getting the ball.
Right.
And Duke, Cooper Flagg is getting the ball. But when you go to Houston, I think that's where they lack, is they don't have that one clear-cut star guy that is going to take over at the end of the game. Every one of them pitches in with their, 10 to 12 points, 10 to 12 points, 10 to 12 points. So you never know whose game it's going to be, but that also makes it tougher down the stretch of like, okay, who do we want to get this to? We're in a close game.
Right.
So
for the people who are watching this right now, what we're doing here is Sam and I have been talking about college basketball for weeks now, leading into March Madness, and what we want to do is partly educate the Bronco Nation about it, so that when we do roll into brackets, hopefully we make it. We're on a really good run right now. But anyway, so what we got going on now is we want Bronco Nation to subscribe to our YouTube account. It's free, and then what we're doing is, regardless if the Broncos are in the brackets or not, we're going to have a bracket challenge for Bronco Nation updates. And then, so this is solely just to get Bronco Nation as a whole, a lot of the football fans to become interested in the basketball program, both men's and women's. So if you subscribe to our YouTube account and you get into our brackets, if you win this year's brackets, you're going to win a free Boise State football jersey. So this portion of the show, we're really getting into the crux of what the layout of NCAA basketball at the moment right now. Of course, there's going to be plenty of upsets, as there always is in leading into the Selection Sunday. But this is going to help Bronco Nation in knowing what's going on in the in the world of college football right now, so that it'll help you go into the brackets and then compete with us and then win that jersey. Because ultimately, I just want everybody to start rooting for our basketball team, just like they do the football team, because they're really worthy. We're a 20-win team. Would like to see that residual come into the X on game days, and then really help us gain that home court advantage. So that's kind of what we're doing here right now. We have on the screen, we have Sam Talk Sports, his top 25. He puts a lot of time and effort into his formula and gathering the rankings from different sources. And then also there's a recency bias that kind of goes in there too, just like you would have with the Selection Sunday crew. So that's where we're at. So just want to remind Bronco Nation, go to our YouTube account, sub, it's free, and then share this out to your friends. And we just want to pack our house for basketball games, and then also, get some hype going on for our men's and women's basketball programs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Boise State had a good year last year,
Yep.
So I really liked watching them play.
With this committee's rankings, what was the you don't have to worry about my rankings on the side, but just with the committee ranking, what was your most eye-popping, maybe not so much head scratcher, because I make an argument for every team on that list, but what was what was the most glaring thing that you'd find wrong with what their rankings were?
That has to be Michigan State, right? Not
Yeah.
Michigan.
Uh,
Because like that would be the first one is
Yeah.
Michigan State should be up there instead of Michigan.
I actually think it was Michigan. I don't think the committee's been high on Michigan State.
Yeah, and I think they're absolutely like the sleeper. They're not even a sleeper team. I mean, they're 22-5 right now.
Yeah, the NCAA didn't have Michigan State ranked. I
Wow.
had them. You see down there in the bottom left. I have them ranked 7th, and the committee didn't have them ranked.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then Kansas is the other one that I see,
Yeah.
and I'm going, Kansas.
yeah.
They have not had a good year at all this year.
And
Kansas
remember too, this was back in February 15th. That's whenever they put theirs out. Of course, Kansas, everyone knows, lost their streak of 4 years being ranked in the top 25 last week.
Mm-hmm.
I still had them at 23, giving a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, but they are trending downward.
Oh yeah.
But the Michigan State, and the argument for Michigan State was they played the bottom of the Big Ten and was undefeated. And I think around the time that the committee released their rankings, they had just started the top, and I think they'd lost 2 games, maybe. They just lost one or 2 games whenever this came out. So I could see where they're thinking, oh, well, they played the lowlies. Now they're coming up against the people that can play, and then they're getting beat. So that's the only reason I can see that. But I agree. Michigan State getting snubbed like that, I still have them ranked 7. So,
yeah, like I said, I think, even though they're 22-5 and getting some recognition, I think that is a sleeper Final Four team.
Yeah.
Just across the board.
I've been high on Michigan State all season. I think that Coach Izzo, he's a great leader, great coach, and I was shocked in the way that they had been trending Michigan over Michigan State, and then Michigan's just last weekend, I believe it was, we were on another BNL. Michigan went in there or Michigan State went in there and beat Michigan on their home court, and so elite teams win those in conference away games. So I agree with you, Jonathan. And I still think that they are probably that Final Four team, I think.
So, Johnny Yates, I know you're getting ready to leave us here in a little bit.
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes with you.
I do want to talk a little bubble watch with you.
Okay.
Get your take, because you made mention that Arkansas forgot they had a game today, and they did. They're currently on my first 4 out on my bubble watch. Do you think Arkansas State's gonna make it in, or are they gonna play themselves out?
Arkansas
State, Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. A couple of games still left. I mean, they played a really awful game against South Carolina today. But I still like their chances of being able to get in, just because they are in the tough SEC. If you go back to, Joe Lunardi,
yeah,
8 conference wins get you in. They're sitting at 6 right now with 2 more games and then the SEC tournament. 2 very winnable games at that.
Yeah.
So, he's 8 should get you in comfortably. 7 should still get you in with that. I like their chances, especially the way they've played down the stretch. Minus today, they've played and beat Texas when Trey Johnson drops 39. They played and beat Missouri pretty good after Missouri beat Alabama pretty handily. They played Auburn to a 4-point game. They played Alabama to a 4-point game. They've been playing very well.
They just missed that hump that gets them that.
Yeah,
they just over the hump. Yeah.
So if they can pull out a couple of wins, I like their chances.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be on the outside looking in? The perennial that's going to be on the outside looking in.
I know Texas is kind of on that.
Yeah.
Right now of they could be good, they could not. And another SEC team that's kind of sitting right there too is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They were ranked early on, and then SEC conference play started and made it a little bit tougher.
They're 4-11 in conference, but right now they are up 51-50 on Ole Miss with 14 minutes to play. So they might get this would be a good quality win for them to get them back on track.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, you know, what you got sitting in there is not just like an awful, just on the graphic, is not an awful take on those. You know, Indiana being on that first 4 out, I think that's pretty spot on, especially with how they've been little up and down this year too. Like they played a couple of games early on where they looked really good, and then they played those others where they just looked just awful, and then they played some close ones. So
I attribute it to the portal, because players don't want to go to a team now just to get a national title ring.
Yeah, a lot of the portal now is like, how much can I get paid?
Yeah, that too. But you're also able to have these schools go, hey, you don't want to sit the bench anymore. Come to the starter over here. So they get noticed. You get to the next level. You can't get to the next level if no one knows who you are sitting at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
So I attribute that the talent distribution is kind of evened out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the talent, and it's been kind of evening over the probably last decade or so. You know, it's been landscape in college basketball is being kind of flattening, and you still have your blue blood programs. You know, your Duke, it's always pretty good. Kentucky's generally pretty good. UCLA's pretty good. But then you always have a team that sneaks up on you. You know, you have your Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah. or Vanderbilt, both football and basketball. They kind of did that to both
Vanderbilt,
sports.
You know, you have those teams that sneak up and just George Mason, you know. So but I think that's good. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I got one more parting question for you. I know you got to get out of here. Do you notice, because it's something I've noticed, and maybe you can validate my opinion, the shift in football schools shifting to basketball schools and vice versa? Like the SEC used to be power football, that was the conference to beat, and the Big Ten that's the conference to beat in basketball. Now it seemed the Big Ten was 5-1 against the SEC in bowl season this year and won the national championship, and the SEC was left on the outside looking in. Do you agree that shift, or what appears to be a shift of basketball conferences and basketball schools shifting more towards football, maybe because that's where the revenue's at, and football conferences and schools shifting more power in basketball? Have you noticed that?
I mean, as a whole, I don't know if that's exactly happening, but I have seen like Indiana. You know, Indiana was pretty good in football this year, and typically they're a basketball school. You know, but hey, that's part of that NIL money is it's having to be spread out. It's no longer like an under the table in a paper bag, come over here. And then the portal opening up means your Georgia and your Alabama can't hoard the top 5 running backs from that class and say, well, you're 1 year and then you're going to be an NFL guy. Because you go back, 2015 and you look at that Alabama running back room where you got a Derrick Henry and those type guys. And Derrick Henry's not the starter. Derrick Henry's not the starter.
Say it loud, put one in the back.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, with that opening, that helps, that disperses that talent. Now you get somebody like in Ohio State's now, instead of getting a guy that's going to be good, he's pull one of those guys over here. Now you slide on in Arizona State, getting some guys in there,
Yeah.
So
I do think that adding Oklahoma and Texas into the SEC has, as a whole, has helped the SEC like try to raise up to do that. And as right now, you can see they have like 14 bids that are probably going to make the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, SEC's been a little bit of a growing league too, basketball wise. It's I think 6 years ago they had 3 or 4 teams get in, and then last year they had 7.
Yeah.
So it's been growing, and then now, like you said, that Texas and Oklahoma are always they're always pretty good.
Yep.
So that helps definitely add on to the competition level.
Jonathan, it's good seeing you, man.
Yeah, likewise. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys having me.
The whole thing.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Jonathan. Maybe we'll have you back as we get into the March Madness. So thanks again for joining us. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
The Plaza Inn owners, Jason and Selena Jungling, are huge supporters of Boise State. If you've ever watched a game, chances are you've seen them as the superfans, the Flintstones. So let's show them as much support as they've supported Boise State by making the short drive over to Ontario. Enjoy dine-in and carry-out by giving in a call at 541-889-3550 for homemade breads, pastries, and soups. Or check them out on the web at plazainrestaurant.com.
All right. So again, Bronco Nation, if you're watching, if you're on the replay, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It's free, and like I said, it can get you a brand new football jersey. So what we're doing is we really want to get people's interest into the basketball program, because we're right in the thick of things. Things are heating up. Like, we are riding another game win streak, and we are trending up to try to make that fourth consecutive appearance in the NCAA tournament. So really want to get Bronco Nation behind our team. We're going to need it, especially with the I think we have one more home game for the seniors, and then also the Mountain West Conference Championship. We really need to keep winning, and that's going to help us. Our schedule is really aligned to where it's really looking good the last part of this season. But really, we want to win that tournament championship to lock it in, to make sure that we have that fourth consecutive spot in the tournament. So go over to our YouTube account. That's under Bronco Nation Updates. It's free, and then just continue to follow Bronco Nation Live as we keep talking about Bronco ball and NCAA basketball.
So I want to pose a question to all our viewers, and go ahead and throw them in the comment section, if whether you're watching TikTok or Facebook, or even if you're watching a recording or on YouTube. Just go ahead and comment what you think would happen. We're winding down to Selection Sunday. Do you think it's conceivable that the SEC could take all four number ones should Duke fall off here at the end of the year, and Houston not win their conference championship? Do you think it's conceivable that the SEC could take all four number one spots? So my opinion is no. I just think Duke and Houston's too good. They're not going to give up their number one, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Nick, what do you think?
No, I think it's totally possible. I do think it is contingent on what happens with Duke. They've I'm buying their stock. You know, I think it. You know, you had Florida, who just had a nice little win here this last week. So I mean, they're jumping right in the mix of things too. So I'm a buyer in the SEC stock in basketball. Like I said, they're projected for at least 13, possibly 14 spots. So obviously there's a lot of weight in how their schedule is working out and what they're doing on the court. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. You got a women's update? Have they tipped off yet?
Yeah, right now I'm getting ready to send out an update, and they've come on as of late into the second quarter. It's right now it is 35-36 for Air Force. They're both of them have the same overall record and conference record. They're both 6-10 in conference, and then they're 16-12 overall. So looks like there's 28 seconds left in the second quarter. Air Force is up 36-35.
Not bad, not bad. Kansas
Yep.
is looking to get a very much needed win to get them back on track. They're down 3 to number 10 Texas Tech.
Yeah, they've been trying to climb back ever since they got outrated by BYU.
Yeah.
Big 12 matchup.
All right.
Right. Well, bear with me. I'm on here live, and if you're a follower of Bronco Nation updates, you know that we send out those halftime designs for sports. So right now, that is exactly what I'm doing for the women. At the half, it is 35-39 Air Force.
The viewers listening, you'll notice this is kind of more of a conversational show so far. Less stats and facts and more talking and just yapping it up. We're here to answer your questions. We want to get more viewer participation in this show. So if you have anything you want to talk about, anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and comment and let us know, and we'll see what we can do. This is as much your show today as it is ours. So I will say this: the Citadel had a chance to get themselves out of the loser column in conference play. It didn't work. They still haven't won a conference game. In case anyone's wondering, the Citadel's in hold on. Every time I try to say something, the computer says no. Every time. Where did it even? I lost my whole screen. Hold on, I can't see anybody. There we go. The Citadel's in the SoCon, Southern Conference, and they are now 0-17. They did not win. University of Maryland Eastern Shore has a chance today to get in the win column. Let us know in the comments whether you're a live viewer or watching this on record. Who's going to win their first game first? Is it going to be first conference game? Is it going to be the Citadel or is it going to be the University of Maryland Eastern Shore? Or Massachusetts. I think it's Massachusetts, not Maryland. UMass. Nope, it is Maryland. I was right the first time. I should never second guess myself, Nick.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Yale in the Ivy League, they're still undefeated too. So I don't think they got the Ivy League's kind of weird how they got set up. It's like they played 2 games last weekend, and I think it's like tournament prep kind of stuff because the Ivy League, their conference tournament is a semifinal, top 4+1 for their game. They play a semifinal and a final. So I'm wondering if these last couple weekends they play tournament prep basically, because they played a Friday and Saturday last week and a Friday and Saturday I think this week, or might have been the week before, and the 2 weeks in the week before. But I was looking at their schedule going, man, I know I just put numbers in for these guys. Did they play again already one day later? I looked at the schedule and sure enough, they played back-to-back days. It's kind of crazy. But we do have tournaments kicking off, I believe, next weekend, if I remember right. So, and then the Mountain West tournament, it kicks off, was it the 12th?
Sounds about right. I know that I think next Tuesday is the final game. Maybe one more after that. So that would align. Next week would be the last regular season game, and then going into the next week. Yeah, that the 12th. Maybe it's the 13th.
Wednesday.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that would be the 12th. Yep.
It's going to be down Thomas and Mack. If you're not going, then it'll be on TV somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm going to.
Right now, the official Mountain West standings has New Mexico in first, and at 14-3, Utah State at 14-4, Colorado State at 13-4, and I think Utah State and Colorado State play today. That's going to be a good game to watch. And San Diego State's fourth at 12-5, and Boise State's fifth at 12-5. Of course, San Diego State has the double heads-up win on us, so we're actually going to need them to lose a couple if we're going to have a chance to grab that last Mountain West bye. If we can't grab that Mountain West bye, then we'll be playing first round.
Yeah, and we want that bye.
Yep.
Makes things so much easier, you know.
And we do have an opportunity to knock off Colorado State last game of the year as well, after they beat us by a 3-pointer late in the game.
Yeah, and that's the game that we want Bronco Nation to completely pack the stadium. All you lifers out there that have those blue seats, those need to be filled. No doubt about it. It's
if you can't go to the game, give your tickets to someone who can, even if you got to sell them for $5-10 a pop. If you're not going to be there, no sense in having an empty seat there.
Just give them away. I mean, seriously, just give them away. It's going to be Tyson. It's going to be Tyson Degenhardt's last game at home, and then also Omar is a senior. So really want to send him out, and depending on how Tyson performs in the next couple games, he could be going for that top spot in career scoring for Boise State at home. So he's 72 points away from 71 from tying Tanaka Beard, and 72 and taking it outright. So let's see if he scores, if he scores like in the mid 25, or maybe 20 up to 30 in the next two games, you're looking at you just need 15 at home, which is possible.
He needs 24 points a game.
Yeah, and they're taking on Fresno and Air Force, so there's a good possibility. I hope Coach Rice just lets him go at it and just score as many buckets as he can.
Yeah. Air Force, they just got their first conference win here not too long ago against Fresno State, but I don't really count that because I think Fresno is probably betting against themselves, thinking Air Force hasn't won a conference game, so they probably put a bunch of money on Air Force. You have all them betting allegations coming out of Fresno right now, so I don't know. I don't know if you can really count that as a win for Air Force. More like a loss for Fresno.
Yeah, that's some serious stuff they got going on there.
Yeah. I was worried they wouldn't even have a team to play.
Yeah. Well, did you want to cover the brackets now? I mean, I've got the update out, so we're good to go. We can do
brackets, but I would like for you to tell me what happened on the mat last night. before we get into that, because I don't want people to come in here for the basketball and miss out on championship talk because they tuned out once we started talking about women's sports.
What happened where?
On the mats last night with Boise State gymnastics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yes. No, that's no. Like I said, as we've been doing these Bronco Nation lives, I didn't think there's any question that they would have a really good chance at defending their championship for Mountain West, and that's what they did last night. So last night, they won the meet. It was at home. Emily Lopez, she was your vault and bars champion, and then Emma Loyam, she was your beam champion, and they locked down the outright Mountain West Championship last night. So they have back-to-back straps. They're one of our upper echelon programs, and I think that we still have one more home meet. So I've watched and seen that the attendance continues to grow for them, which it should be. I mean, they're very deserving, and they're earning that. So So last night they celebrated back-to-back championship for Mountain West. They took the trophy. They went to the blue. They lit up the blue as they always do with all the other sports and celebrating championships. And they had they got to celebrate that hardware on the blue with the blue lights. Is pretty cool. You could probably see those photos on Instagram, and follow that. They're a good follow on Instagram. You get to see all their videos and their photos. So congratulations to you Broncos on the gymnastics squad. Continue to keep making Bronco Nation proud. And like I said, they're one of the top 5 programs in their sports for Boise State. So totally deserving of supporting them at home. It's a good time. Lots of action to partake in. So
you think they got national title aspirations?
Let's see. They were going into the Utah State meet, which was last week in Logan. They were ranked, I believe they were ranked 27th. But then they took that loss. So that probably, I haven't checked to see where they were ranked, but I'm guessing that they're probably around 30. Not sure if that quite will qualify them to get into regionals or however they do that. But I will say that we do have some individuals that have a chance at going to nationals. Emily Lopez, she's a lock. She's gone at least 2 consecutive tournaments, and I don't have any doubt that she'll be representing Boise State as an individual there. Then you have we may see Alyssa Badge get in there. She's very good at the vault. She didn't take it last night. Emlo got it. So and then also Christina Schmecken. It's Shinekanov or something like that. It's a hard one for me. She's doing very well. She might have a chance too, but Emlo's a lock for sure. And then Emma Loyam, she's really good at the floor, and as you can see, she won the beam. So there's a chance that she might be a rep too. So
you said they're back-to-back Mountain West champions. You think they'll 3-peat? I know it's way too early to tell.
Yeah. Well, I think Coach Bird she's great, and they have the freshman talent that they have. They've been winning freshman of the week. I think they still have a good chance to do that as they develop. Same thing happened with Imlo. There's that year of development, and then they come in and they just dominate. So I think there's a really good chance. I mean, we still have one more meet to go, and they've already locked down their second outright Mountain West Championship. So I think, if I was a betting man, the odds are in their favor.
You heard it here first. Nick says to go bet on Boise State for next year.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
Well, let's jump into brackets, shall we? My number one overall seed is Auburn. If you heard us talking earlier in the show with Jonathan, we were talking about just how good Auburn is this year. They're stupid good this year. I don't think they've really been tested much. I know there's been a couple of games where they've been put to the wire, but it hasn't been very often. And I wouldn't be surprised if they run through the tournament and win it all. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 4 SEC teams in the Final Four. To be honest, that league is that good this year. But Auburn's my number one. They're, like I said, they've lost 2 games this year. It's hard to do that at any level. Where did I had it closed out? Lovely. my folder closed out. I'm gonna have to look at the screen now. I tell you what, it's the most Mondayest feeling Saturday ever, as far as technology is concerned. So yeah, it's been the most.
My problem is that my Wi-Fi is not the best. So every once in a while you'll see a glitch, and kind of drives me nuts. But it's like it's what I got. So.
Right. Work with what you got. So that's. I just don't see how you could put anybody other than Auburn number one at this point in the year. I don't think there's a soul out there that would, unless you're in Duke country, there's not a soul out there that would say Auburn doesn't deserve number one. And the only reason I say that is because Duke does only head-to-head against Auburn earlier this year. But to be honest, I don't think Duke comes out on top now. I think Auburn's better than what they were at the start of the year. So, yeah.
So for me, like they lost against Alabama, and they fell in the rankings, and then what impressed me is that they bounced back, and here they are, back towards the top. So I agree.
Yeah. Next up, Duke, my other number one, overall number two. I got them going to the East, playing in their pod game in Lexington. Like I said, Duke's the only, not the only. Duke has the heads up against Auburn already, so that would be the only argument Duke really has against not being number one. Don't want to do that. There we go. Pulling up the net real quick, and Duke is ranked number 2 in the net. They do have a 6-3 against quad ones, including that win over Auburn. They have losses against Kentucky and Kansas, and at the time Kansas was ranked number 1. So it really tells you either how much better Duke has gotten or how far Kansas has fallen, because they lost to Kansas 75-72. So, and now we're here where Kansas isn't even ranked and Duke's ranked number 2. So, their other top 25 or quad one losses to Clemson, who Boise State beat, and then Clemson beat Duke and Duke beat Auburn. So Boise State's number 1 and national champions. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. they're 5-0 against quad 2s, 9-0 against quad 3, and 5-0 against quad 4. So all three of their losses come against quad 1. They're a lock for the tournament. They could lose out, and I don't think they would miss the tournament. Auburn, they're number 1 in the net. They've got their 2 losses have been to Duke and to Florida. So in that Florida game, that's probably the worst I've ever seen Auburn play this year so far. Was that Florida game? But you can tell their quad 4 wins, just how dominant they are. They don't play down to their opponent. They're just blowing out their quad 4 opponents by 50 points, 30 to 50 points each. Their quad 2 opponents or quad 3 opponents the same, and then their quad 2s are a little bit more competitive. So they're blowing out the people they're supposed to be blowing out while winning games, and they're winning the games they're supposed to win out. So, like I said, their only 2 losses to Duke, and that was a game at Duke, so they had home court advantage, 6-point loss there, and then the 9-point loss to Florida at home. So sometimes you can make them, sometimes you can't. Houston's my other number 3, or my other number 1. They're number 3 in the net as well. They're 7-4 against quad 1s, and they're undefeated in all the other quads. And like Auburn and Duke, they're blowing out their lower opponents. I mean, the fact that and we touched on this earlier, the fact that the committee ranked them so low at number 8 is just, it's baffling to me, because that's not even a high seeded number 2 spot. That's the lowest number 2 seed at ranked at number 8. So that's crazy to me. I don't get that at all. They had a 5-point loss to Auburn, a 5-point loss to Alabama, and then of course their 3-point loss to San Diego State probably was their worst quad 1 loss, but it's still just a quad 1, and that was on a neutral site. And then of course they had their 1-point loss to Texas Tech. That was a really good game. I got to watch that one. So, but
yeah, and Houston's been one of my top 4s all season. Again, I'm a big fan of Coach Sampson. So, and I'm always recency biased. So, I'm still high on Houston.
Yeah. And it does look like Kansas, which Houston does have a 6-point win against Kansas earlier this year. Looks like they are going to end up losing. If they don't travel away, they can probably get 2 shots off. There's one. Missed it. Nope. Kansas is going to lose 78-73. Did that last one? Nope, they did not count the last one. All right. 78-73, Texas Tech over Kansas. So Kansas still slipping down, and that might put them out. Mm-hmm. That might put them on the bubble. They need to. Yeah. Let's go in here. Let's look at Kansas's net. They're 4-7 against quad 1s, 5-2 against quad 2s, and they're undefeated against 3s. So if they can pull out a win against Houston and Arizona, which is their last 2 games, then they might be able to salvage their tournament chances. Or, of course, they could win the Big 12 to do that. But those are 2 very tough asks to do, is to win against Houston. And, of course, their Arizona game is going to be at home, so that might make it a little bit easier. But Kansas may find themselves on the bubble after this week. All right, my final number 1 seed is Florida, another SEC team. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston and Duke falter this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 4 SEC teams, because you got Florida here at my number 4. They're number 5 in the net standings, but you have Tennessee and Alabama are laying in wake. So if Duke and Houston falter, you could have Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, all four at number 4. I don't know if that's ever happened where one conference has controlled all 4 number 1 seeds before. That'd be interesting to see if someone could hunt that information down. Florida's net, like I said, is that they're 5 on the net. They got wins over Tennessee whenever Tennessee was ranked number 1 there briefly. A throttling of Tennessee at that. It was a 30-point beatdown. Of course, then they turned around and got beat down by 20. So technically, Florida has a 10-point margin on Tennessee. They beat them by 30 and lost by 20. So Florida's still the better school for all you people wanting to make that argument. And they do have a loss against Georgia, which is probably their worst quad 1 loss is probably to Georgia. And they're undefeated everywhere else. So they only have 5 quad 4 or quad 1 losses. And they've taken care of business everywhere else they've needed to take care of business. They got Texas A&M today, and then Alabama next week, and then they close out the season against Ole Miss. So they're very well could hold on to that. But like I said, if they lose, they're right there. There's some people have Tennessee as a number 4. Some people have Florida, and some people have Alabama. So it's right there. Those 3 are really fighting for that number 4 spot. Texas Tech was fighting for that spot at one point, and then they lost it. So I think Texas Tech's going to be a solid block at number 2 seed. Stop opening that screen. I go in to open one screen and it opens the other. Or 3. I think I have Texas Tech as a 3 seed, not a 2 seed. I think I misspoke right there. I did. I have Texas Tech a 3 seed. So the East or the Auburn is South. The South number 2 seed. We talked about this with Yates earlier with Michigan State. The committee is not high on Michigan State. When they released their top 16, they had them at number 8. I have them at number there it is. I have them at number 7 and a solid lock at the number 2 seed. So their net might have something to do with that. They're only ranked 13 in the net. They're 9-4 against quad 1s and 5-1 against quad 2s, with their loss coming to Indiana. And they're undefeated in quad 3 and 4. They've got Wisconsin tomorrow, number 11 Wisconsin tomorrow. Then they go to Iowa, and then they're home again for the rematch with Michigan. Where they went into Michigan and won. So Michigan's going at 75-62. So Michigan's going to be coming back with a vengeance for that one. That'll be a really good game to round out the Big Ten regular season right there. As both schools are vying for top spot in the Big Ten right now. So
they're coming back in to Michigan State for that rematch.
Yes.
And they're going to try to punk Michigan State like Michigan State did them, So
yeah, and it very well may be the Big Ten regular season championship game too.
Yeah.
Michigan and Michigan State, they're both right there at top of the Big Ten standings. So they've been leapfrogging each other pretty much all year long.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to Michigan State. Like I said, from the moment you asked me who my top 4 teams, they were right there. I bounced UConn. They're too inconsistent for me. But Michigan State's right there for me. I'm a believer.
The East number 2 is Tennessee for me. Where did they go? Oh, I'm in the wrong screen again. They're ranked number 4 in the net. Tennessee's one that very easily could be a number 1 seed should Florida or Houston or Duke falter. I really think Auburn and Duke they're pretty much a lock at number 1, unless just something catastrophic happens like Cooper Flag or something just gets injured or something. I just don't see Auburn or Duke losing a number 1 seed. So if any of these like the 5 through 7 ranked teams, if they want a chance at a number 1 seed, their best bet's going to come at the hands of Houston or Florida losing here late. Tennessee did split with Florida. We talked about that earlier. They do have a loss against Vanderbilt. Auburn, 2-point loss to Auburn. That was a good game. I remember that one. And then a 5-point loss to Kentucky. In fact, Kentucky actually swept the series against Tennessee with a 11-point loss as well. And they're undefeated in quad 2, 3, and 4. So their only losses have been quad 1s, and they're going to be a lock for the tournament. They've got they're playing Alabama actually right now, and they don't have their bug up, so I can't tell what the score is yet right now. They've got Ole Miss next week, and then or next game, and then they're South Carolina, who just railroaded Arkansas. So Tennessee's got a couple more chances to make their case for a 1 seed, and it starts today. Right now against Alabama. Which brings me to Alabama as my number 2 seed in the Midwest. Funny how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I planned it that way. Alabama's number 6 in the net. They are in my Midwest bracket. They've got losses to Purdue, which I believe that's their worst. Nope, Oregon. Oregon's going to be their worst quad 1 loss. 10-5 in quad 1 and undefeated everywhere else. And of course, they're playing Tennessee right now, and Tennessee's shooting technical fouls and missed it. Alabama's got a 9-7 lead right now. It's 15:48 to play. Oh, shooting techs for upgraded to a flagrant 1, it looks like, off a shooting foul, got hit in the head. So 9-8, 15:48 to play in the first. So that game just started. If you guys are interested in watching that one, it should be a really good one. Tennessee's got to win to keep their 1 seed hopes alive. Alabama's got to win to keep their 1 seed hopes alive. And both teams got a lot riding on it. Going on to the West. Number 2 is the other school from Michigan. Michigan. So Michigan State had a net ranking of 13, and Michigan is 22. So for them to be in my top 2, as a number 2 seed, many people might scratch their heads on that, but I don't care. They're a good basketball team. They're 8-4 against quad 1 and 6-2 against quad 2, with their losses coming to Minnesota and Wake Forest in quad 2. They did have a 2-point loss to Arkansas and a 1-point loss to Oklahoma. They did get railroaded by Purdue. That's probably their worst loss of the year. And then, of course, they lost to Michigan State at home. But Michigan's coming on strong here at the end of the year. I really think they're a lot better than what they were when they first started out, which is the case for most schools. But I think Michigan's playing a lot better basketball right now. And it very well could come down to Michigan or Michigan State winning the regular season title in the last game of the year. Michigan does have – I don't think Michigan can make a case to be a number 1 seed. I think they're a number 2 at least, or at most, I should say. At least they're a number 3 lock. They do have 3 quad 1 games left. So that could really bolster their resume. They've got Illinois tomorrow, number 16 Maryland on the 5th, and then, of course, their game against Michigan State on the 9th. So it's the Big Ten. It's shaping up to be a very entertaining final 3 games for the Big Ten.
And Bronco Nation, if you're hopping on here and you're hearing us talk about, other college basketball teams, there's a purpose for that, and that's because we want you to join us in our group, Bronco Nation Updates March Madness Bracket Challenge. So what we're doing is, and we've been doing this for over a month, covering Boise State basketball as well as the rest of college football or college basketball. And we really want you to hop on here. Sam's done a lot of analysis and research and come up with some formulas to just kind of help rein in the 300 or so college basketball programs out there that they
364.
Yep, 364 to 65 spots or 66 spots in the bracket. So he's done a lot of work on that, and what we want is just come on board and learn with me. I'm learning myself. Like I'm gleaning everything that Sam Talk Sports is dishing out, and because generally I usually just go into the bracket challenges. I'm recency biased, but now, as we've been doing this and I've been following along with Sam Talk Sports, I'm learning just like I'm hoping that everybody else is, and that'll probably help, so that I'm not like lucky in the brackets, but maybe I know what I'm doing this year, right, in picking those teams. So we'd really love for you guys to follow us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bronco Nation Updates. Become a subscriber. It's free. And then when we go through the brackets, whoever wins and you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, you're going to get a free Bronco football jersey, brand new. So that's kind of what we're doing here today. I think we'll take a brief break and give Sam time to catch his breath here. So we'll be back in just a moment.
We are cruising right along in 2025. Are you looking for a healthy change? Just breathe and let the Organized Experience help you embrace change. The Organized Experience team masters in the art of helping people find freedom through decluttering, organizing, and creating organizing systems. So let Stacy's team help you in 2025. Visit their website at theorganizedexperience.com.
And welcome back, Bronco Nation. Again, we're just chatting it up. We don't really have a big to-do list on here. We're going up unscripted today. But we're also working on some more prize picks for the brackets. Sam, you want to kind of describe what you got, what you're offering too, on top of that jersey?
So obviously we want you guys to be a part of Bronco Nation Updates, but if you want to add to your prize pool of potential winnings, I'm going to put up $150. I've upped my ante to what I originally thought I was going to do. I'm going to put up $150. I'll give it to you in a gift card or Venmo or Cash App. $100 will go to first place in the tournament. $150 will go to second place. So if you don't win, you still get a little something. But just like you have to be subscribed to Bronco Nation Updates YouTube, you also have to be subscribed to or follow Sam Talk Sports. And we'll put all that information in the promo material, I guess you could say. So you get the link to get over to Sam Talk Sports and make sure you hit that follow button. It's just on Facebook. So go follow Sam Talk Sports on Facebook and fill out your bracket. That Nick will send you the link for the group for the bracket. He'll post it in Bronco Nation Updates. Fill your brackets out. Make sure you're part of the group. And if you win, you get $100. If you come in second, you get 50. So
and you guys, like with everything, you guys will see those promos come out. They'll be blasted on all of our platforms on the Meta, both on Facebook and Instagram, on the X, on TikTok, everywhere. Those will be going out, every so often. So if you're following Bronco Nation Updates or the Bronco Nation Facebook page, you're going to get it. So just be looking out for that. So that's an awesome thing. Like you're not paying anything for you just subscribing to the YouTube account. You're following Sam's Talk Sports. And if you win the brackets, you get a free jersey and $100. So, and then second place gets $50. So, you will, can't beat that. It's free.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. So. Doesn't cost you anything to hit that follow button and subscribe button, and you could win something out of it.
Yep. And literally too, with the way that we have everything set up with our nonprofit Blue Elevation, all the views that are monetized on all of our platforms, that goes to revenue sharing for Boise State. So, and any subscription that you buy from our premium part on our website, we're the only source in the country that actually generates that monetization through subs, and that goes to the school as well. So, and it's all tax deductible too. So you purchase that, then guess what? You can write it off. So it's a win-win for you, your company, and the school. So.
Yep. And you want to start helping bring those bigger players in to help get Boise State over the hump, help Leon Rice win that first tournament game. This is how you can do it. All the guys saying that we're missing something, myself included. I've been a detractor, I guess you could say. I like Leon Rice, but he's making his case here late in the year for getting off of my hot seat. But with everything going on, you have the opportunity to put money into the NIL fund so that Boise State can go out and get some of these bigger name players. Maybe not biggest as in Cooper Flag big, but someone else out there that may come in and be that guy that gets us up over the top. We're losing Tyson at the end of the year. We need to replace him. Peanut will probably fill the role quite nicely there as a top scorer. So this is your opportunity to help keep the players that you love and help bring in players that you want. So
yeah, for example, we have Javen's dad on listening on TikTok. Like, the way that revenue sharing will help. It'll help a kid like Javen, who came from the league that he came from. So he comes here, he's performing very well. So let's chip him off some. So the more that we can get Bronco Nation to crowdsource, the better it is for that resupply, and then also helping out our student athletes that are still on the team who who've made that risk and bounced over here. So,
Yeah.
and it's again with what we got going on with Blue Elevation and Serving Bronco Nation directory, it's a win-win. You get on our directory, and guess what? It's tax deductible, so it's a write-off, and then you get in return millions of views to your company or whatever it is that you want to promote, and then that's also going to the athletic department at Boise State so that they can do what they need to do to build up our programs.
Yeah. So before we jump back into Bubble Watch, Nick, why don't you give us an update on the women's score?
Yeah, so right now they have about 5 minutes left in the fourth. It was still pretty close coming into the third quarter, but right now Air Force is up 68-58. So they're up by 10 with a little less than 5 minutes left. Right now, Natalie Pasco's leading. She's got 13 points. Tatum Thompson has 10 rebounds. She's got a double-double. She's got 11 points and 11 rebounds. Nice. And then MKN, Mary Kay Narrow, she's leading. She's got 5 assists. So hopefully they can put in a run here and get this because it's definitely gonna whoever wins this is going to go up a notch on the seeds going into the tournament.
Yeah. So let's talk some bubble, shall we?
Bubble talk.
Bubble talk. I got my last 4 byes being Georgia, Wake Forest, Vandy, and San Diego State. San Diego State, by virtue of their win over Houston, has been hanging into that last 4 byes, last 4 in kind of sections. They've been kind of jumping up and down. I think their win over Houston has been their saving grace. Otherwise, I don't see them. They may be first 4 out without that, to be honest. And where did they go? The Mountain West would only get 2 teams in because their net right now is 49. They're 4-5 against quad ones. 13-point loss to Gonzaga, they're falling apart a little bit here. They're going to be bubble watch territory soon if they don't turn some things around. They do have a win over Creighton. They've got a loss to Oregon, and of course they're lost to New Mexico, Colorado State, and Utah State. But again, that Houston win is looking better and better every day. The closer and closer to tournament time we get, having a win over a number 1 seed that goes a long way. Utah State did sweep the series on them. They lost to them at home by 1, and then on the road by 8. So it's not that they were blowouts, but they were still losses. And then, of course, they do have that quad 3 loss to UNLV. So they're on the bubble. They'll probably stay on the bubble, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But I think they'll get in regardless. Vanderbilt, they're one of those teams. Just when you're ready to write them off, they come out with a good win to put them right back in the conversation. Same with Wake Forest and Georgia. I was ready to write Georgia off, and then they went on a run. And I'm like, well, I can't write them off now. So they're my last 4 byes. The last 4 in Texas, Illinois, North Carolina, and Baylor. Really, you could switch out Baylor and Indiana or West Virginia at this point. Either one of those can get that last spot. Right now, it belongs to Baylor. Arkansas, we talked to Jonathan about it earlier. They forgot they had a game today. That's going to not help their cause. They really needed that win, especially since South Carolina is the bottom barrel of the SEC. Now, granted, the bottom barrel of the SEC doesn't really mean you're horrible this year. It just means you can't beat the SEC this year, and the SEC is stacked. It's going to be hard to beat the SEC this year, and I know we've been parroting that, and I'm going to eat so much crow if the SEC comes out and then just lays a blank in the tournament and all of them lose in the first round. That would suck so bad for many people in Vegas. But Auburn is 11-0 in quad 3 and 4. They've got a loss against Oklahoma and a loss against LSU in quad 2, and they're only 4-9 in quad 3. So, which is mostly SEC games except for Baylor. They got a loss to Baylor, and Illinois. So Auburn has flashes of greatness, and then they fall off. They do have a win over Michigan. I did miss that one. So they play close games. Like they had a 4-point loss to Alabama. They had a 3-point or a 7-point loss to Auburn. So they play close games. They're not getting over those humps. So they've got a couple chances to get back in good graces. Of course, they did just lose to South Carolina, which that's a quad 2 game. Even though South Carolina is the last place in the SEC, that tells you how good the SEC is. Last place is still quad 2. Then you got Vanderbilt as a quad 1 and Mississippi State as a quad 1. So they've got a couple games to get back into it. So, but their time is running out if they want to. Boise State, obviously, this graphic was made before the Utah State game. Boise State, I think, especially with Arkansas losing today, if Boise State wins today, I think they'll move to the first 4 out. Even in ESPN's bracketology, I think they'll move to last 4 out with a win today. They may even move to last 4 in if the right people lose. But I feel confident with a win today, they'll be at least first 4 out. San Francisco, they play Gonzaga today. That's going to be a big game for them. Their bubble will pretty much be burst if they can't get that win. I think they'll be on the outside looking in. And it's Gonzaga's last game as well to make any kind of statements. They're 2-6 against quad 1s. So it's not going to be an easy game for San Francisco. They're 1-4. San Francisco is against quad 1, with their only loss being a home game against only win, being a home game against St. Mary's. They do have the home win against Boise State to hold over our heads, so we really need them to lose so that the committee doesn't go, oh, if we have to choose between one or the other, let's choose the one that won the heads up. So having that loss to San Francisco is not good for Boise State. So, and their last game as well is tonight against Gonzaga. So that'll be a good game because if San Francisco loses, their bubble's popped and they'll have to win the tournament in order to make the dance. George Mason and the A-10, they're fighting with VCU for that title. George Mason, try that again. George Mason's ranked 65 in the net. They've got a win against Dayton as their only quad 1 win, with losses against Duke and Marquette and VCU, and they've all been very bad losses. they haven't even been close. They do have a loss against Rhode Island as well, and a quad 3 loss against East Carolina, and a quad 4 loss against Central Michigan. They have no real meaningful games left, so their bubble, the only reason it's not burst yet is because they still have a shot at winning the Atlantic 10. But any loss between now and the 8th, their last game's on the 8th, will burst their bubble. They've got quad 3 and 4 games the rest of the way out. Another loss and they'll be gone. The last team there on the next 4 out is North Texas. And there they are. They got a 56 net ranking. They're 0-3 against quad 1, including a loss against Utah State, and a 4-point loss to Memphis, who's ranked 22 right now. They're 4-2 against quad 2s, and they're undefeated. Oh, I lied. They do have a 4-point loss against quad 4 UTSA. So with quad 3 and 4 games left, North Texas really needs to win out and hope for a lot of people to lose out in order for them to make an at-large. But their bubble's just about burst as well. The only teams really that have a at-large aspirations would be my last 4 buys, my last 4 in, and my first 4 out, and really Boise State, and if San Francisco beats Gonzaga tonight, they might still have a chance at an at-large, depending on what things happen. But really, we've come down to about 13 teams are all vying for the very few at-large spots that are coming available. So that is that.
Yep.
But,
and when you have Georgia, Illinois, Texas, Indiana, West Virginia, in that's the Blue Bloods, it's hard not to think that maybe the committee doesn't do their thing.
Yeah. Boise State did help their case, though, out. Like I said, their win against Utah State Wednesday night, huge win, obviously. Not just that we won, but in the way that we won. The net rankings, they take point spread into consideration whenever they do their rankings. So that was a huge win for Boise State. A very unfortunate loss for Utah State, with them trying to solidify their at-large potential. But Utah State, every time I close a window to pull up another window, and whenever I open the window that I closed out to pull up another one, it resets. It makes no sense. I got to figure out how to stop it from doing that. So, Utah State game. I don't want that. There we go. That's what I want. Give you an idea how dominant the performance was. Meadow, Dagenhart, and Cardenas combined for 64 points. $54. I suck at math. 54 points. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. We had 4 Broncos in double figures, with Stanley pulling in 10 points as well. So, and then Peanut, he almost had his double-digit scoring as well. So Boise State can score, and they can score against quality opponents. Utah State was not a slouch opponent, and we went and beat them by 17. So I'm going to anxious to see what the rankings look like, and if Boise State's going to receive any votes, and if ESPN's bracketology, Joe Lenardi, if he's moves them up any further on the bubble watch after that win. Of course, it all matters. Comes down to tonight with Fresno State. They they got to take care of business and hope Fresno's betting on Boise State and not on themselves. There's going to be so many memes for that. I can already see it.
Yeah, I've been seeing where I think it's Lenardi or it could have been another one where they have been, the trend has been to move Boise State up more towards those the last four in. So
yeah.
That really helped them, especially taking down Utah State. The only thing that still just chaps me is losing to San Diego State.
Yeah.
Losing, the way that, getting swept by them. Because the way that it's kind of working its way out is that we might see like a four-way tie at second place.
Yeah.
But I am also seeing the strength of the conference. I've seen people speculating that, that those spots are going back up from 3 to 4, possibly.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. But, losing 2 times to San Diego State really hurt us. And so, still, I think the best scenario for Boise State is just continue to win, keep winning, just win, baby.
Yep.
And then all the way up into the tournament, the Mountain West Tournament Championship. And if they lose there, then I still think they have a good chance of being selected.
Yeah. I think the only way the Mountain West gets 4 teams in is Utah State and New Mexico. They're a lock, in my opinion. They're there. Win or lose in the tournament, they can make an early exit in the Mountain West tournament, and they'll still be in. I think the only way we get 4 teams in is Boise State and San Diego State in the Mountain West tournament, and Boise State winning. Because with San Diego State's win over Houston, that's going to go a long way for them. And Boise State getting the monkey off their back and beating San Diego State. I don't think it'll do too much to knock San Diego State out, and then Boise State will get the automatic. So Boise State has the potential to be a bid thief this year, or they could knock San Diego State out of it altogether. But I think that the San Diego State needs to win up to the Mountain West Tournament Championship game, and then Boise State beat them in the Mountain West Tournament Championship game. And I think that's the best scenario for 4 Mountain West Conference teams to get in.
I agree. Live update. Women fall to Air Force 75-68. Their current record overall is 16-14, and they have a conference record of 6-11. So bad news for them.
Well, they're saving some gas in the tank to make that run in the Mountain West tournament to make the dance that way.
Yeah, the thing about the women is, the conference, you're never gonna like be in the top 25. I mean, recently, right? They're not in the Power 5. So, for a mid-major, it's all contingent. I mean, the bragging rights, right, for a regular season conference championship, but literal, the necessity is to win the Mountain West Conference, and then you're in the tournament, the NCAA tournament, and that's just the way that Mountain West women's basketball goes. So that's regardless of what they're doing. But as a fan, my expectations is that they, that they are always in contention for that regular season championship, just like with the men. So still rooting them on. You never want, you don't want to save everything for the tournament, but you want to play with pride and win as many games as you can. in conference, and so that's where they're at right now.
So Boise State's game, we said that we needed to beat Fresno tonight. Last time they played Fresno, they back in February 1st. They won considerably, handedly, 82-60. That was a home game. Now they go to Fresno. Fresno's 5-23, and of course they're coming off of gambling allegations. So whether or not they have a cohesive unit playing on the floor tonight remains to be seen. But Degenhart has a chance to go off. Like I said, he's 72 points away from breaking the Boise State record for scoring. He needs to average 24 points a game to do that. It seems like there was another number 2 that we were talking about, and counting down yardages for record breakings this time in the football season. What was the other number 2 that we were talking about doing this? Ashton Genty. Let's hope Degenhart doesn't come up just short like Genty did, but we'll be rooting for him to do that. Break the Boise State scoring record. Last game against Fresno, not score. That's what I want. Degenhart put up 13 points. Meadow had a game with 20 points, so maybe Fresno will be looking to shut down Meadow, and Degenhart will be able to go off, especially if Peanut gets in the mix and they have to spread the floor. I can see Degenhart getting some inside looks and really putting on a show, putting on a clinic.
Yeah, I hope Coach Rice just, let's go the reins and just lets him go. Like, the opposite of what was happening in the beginning of the season in football for Ashton Genty, where we pulled him, Yeah. I hope Rice just lets Ty just go wild,
Yeah. A win tonight definitely improves chances of an at-large as well. So, Wednesday's win against Utah State did that more so than the night. But if you lose tonight, you pretty much close the door on any at-large aspirations, because it's not going to happen.
It's MWC tournament champion or bust.
Yep. So really, the rest of the season they need to win out. They've got their only other game to make anything happen is against Colorado State. Everything else is quad 4. So Colorado State's a quad 2 game at this point. So yeah.
You couldn't ask for a better schedule for the end of the season. You really couldn't, because having New Mexico, Utah State, and now Colorado State's a home game. That's about as perfect scenario as you can get. So that goes back to our need as a fan base is we need to support the basketball programs, the women's, the men, because that really does help them in a home court scenario. That, being that sixth man out there really does, it makes a difference for these games. And we can do that. So, like I said, let's all pull together and, focus our attention on the basketball programs, make it to the games, and cheer on, our beloved Broncos.
Bronco Nation Live is brought to you by Blue Elevation and the Serving Bronco Nation directory. Hey Bronco Nation, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible plan, you are investing in Boise State and getting access to millions of views throughout the year on the directory and the Bronco Nation network.
And welcome back. And like I said, what we're doing here is we are getting Bronco Nation's focus on the Boise State basketball programs. And doing that, what we're offering is we're offering prizes for the upcoming brackets. And all you have to do is become a subscriber to the Bronco Nation Updates YouTube channel, and also follow Sam's Talk Sports on Facebook. And if you win the brackets, then you win a brand new Boise State Bronco football jersey and a $100 gift card from Sam Talk Sports, and it's free. Like all you have to do is click a button. That's it. And then make your picks, have fun with the rest of us going over the basketball, and then tuning into our Bronco Nation Live and learning, like I am with Sam, on all this information about our teams. So the college football, college basketball teams. See, I default to football, and so what I'm trying to do is bring in Bronco Nation to maybe undefault for the basketball season and focus on men's and women's basketball. So, I'm doing exactly what I'm preaching, and I'm learning as well. So why don't you join us and win some great prizes while doing it and having fun? So, and learn something different.
Let's give you a quick rundown in case you're joining us late. You missed early on in the show. We had Jonathan Yates on. He was a high school basketball coach down here in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He talked about some of the things that coaching does to develop kids to the next level, and how things have changed with the portal and everything. So it's really hard for high school seniors now to make it on to the next level. And we went in and we talked about my top 25 and bracketology. Talked about how good the SEC is this year, and their very real possibility of getting all 4 number 1 seeds if Duke, Houston, and Florida should fall. Of course, Florida being in the SEC, you've got Tennessee, Alabama sitting in Wake, ready to claim those number 1 spots if anyone falls. Alabama and Tennessee is actually playing right now. Alabama's got a 39-33 lead. We went over my number 1 and number 2 seeds, and talked about the bubble watch, where Boise State is currently sitting at the the next 4 out, I should say. But again, all my data is based off of my numbers that I run through Monday evening. So it did not have the Utah State win in there. So Boise State very well, when the new numbers come out, can find themselves as high as the last 4 in. But I haven't run the numbers yet. We'll figure that out, and you'll have to tune in to the next show to figure out how far they climb. We've also recapped the Utah State game and previewed the Fresno game. So let's talk some women's sports, shall we?
Sure. As I just said, and we sent out the live update. The women's basketball team fell to Air Force today, 75-68. Tatum Thompson led all scorers with 16 points. Also had 11 rebounds. So this probably, I think, are like 8th or 9th double-double this season. Natalie Pasco finished with 13 points. Danny Bays another 10. Danny Bays was 4 for 11 or 2 for 5 at 3-point line. And then the active legend and future Hall of Famer Abby Muse finished with 7 points, 4 rebounds, a block. Unfortunately, that will put Boise State underneath Air Force in the Mountain West Conference standings. So that's going to affect their seeding going into the Mountain West tournament. Softball, the Broncos pounded the Lemoyne University. Never heard of them. There's somewhere down south.
I have. You want to know how I've heard of them? They're
have you heard of them?
They're one of the 364 basketball teams that I've been tracking this year. I never heard of them.
Yeah, they
so.
Yeah, so we had home runs from Hannah, Mackenzie Hannah, Sydney Groves, and Megan Lake. Mackenzie Butt was still raking it too. She hit 3 doubles, and they were run ruled in the bottom of the 6th. It was 13-5. Shannon Keegren picked up the win. She's 2-0. She's a freshman, and they are waiting to see who they are going to be playing in. I believe it's one of the concession rounds. It's kind of like a tournament that they're playing, the Big Bird Bash down there. I think it's hosted by UTSA. I can check here really quick, see if they've got that. See if they have that.
I should have went down there and went live from UTSA then. It's only a 4 hour.
Let's see. It's 4 hour.
I think 4.5, maybe closer to 5 now that I think about it.
Oh, it looks like they are taking on. No. They already played them, didn't they? Yeah. I don't see. Is that them? It's showing I'm playing Lemoyne again. I'll have to check and see if that's for real or not. Because I was thinking that they'd be taking on Houston again, or. Oh yeah, they are playing. So they ended up they're going back to back with Lemoyne, and then winner, I believe, goes to the final of the challenge, or maybe this is the maybe this may be this consolation tournament. But right now they're up they're tied 1-1. Sydney Groves is at the plate in the bottom. I guess they're the bottom of the first. Yep. So they're giving him
her hitting streak to 22 with a leadoff single. Nice.
Yep, she's absolutely crushing it. And then again, a update on women's gymnastics. They wrapped up their back-to-back Mountain West Conference championship last night with a win over Air Force, who was in town. Air Force didn't have a bad showing. They did rather well. It was 195.8 to 194.5. Not too shabby by Air Force. But your vault and bars champion was Emily Lopez, and your beam champion was Emma Loyam. So um, celebrating back-to-back gymnastics championships, and very well done. And they have one more meet to go, and that's a home meet at the X. So go support that program if you can.
And if you missed it earlier, Nick thinks they're going to three-peat next year and wants you to go bet all your life savings on them for educational purposes.
For entertainment purposes only.
Don't go bet your life savings.
Right. I do think they have a good chance at making a three-peat. So
yeah. Good deal. Hey, what do we got coming up Wednesday, Nick?
Oh, and then Wednesday, and here's another great reason why to sub to our YouTube account. Our YouTube channel is Wednesday. We are having a former elite second baseman and 2023 softball champion, Mountain West champion, Abby Baumkrat. She's going to join us on Wednesday night at 7:30. The Blue Collar Classic is on next Thursday. So the women have been traveling abroad, during these winter's months, getting a lot of experience. Right now, they're currently 14-4. They're doing very well. So we're gonna have Abby onto the show to discuss softball and hopefully turn on Bronco Nation to support that elite program. To me, I believe that the softball program is number 3, our number 3 program at Boise State. Justin Schultz is doing a great job over there and continually restacking that team with mashers and this year very consistent hitters and fast on the base path. So join us on Wednesday night. We're going to have Abby on, and we'll just talk about her experience with the program. She's one of my favorites. I call her like Snagger, or she was the glove, because nothing really got past her at second base. Nice. She was awesome. Nice. Yep.
Cool. Well, Nick, you got anything else you want to throw out there?
Just make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bronco Nation Updates Facebook group is really very active nowadays. We're celebrating 1.1 or 1.2 million views on that one alone. So if you're looking to get connected with other fans of Boise State, go join that. And then also we have a great thing going with our website at Bronco Nation Updates. We have some really awesome news coming down the pipeline for that. So go check out that website. It's at bronconationupdates.com. We're looking for contributors for the free pages, and then also we have an awesome behind the paywall. We have an awesome resource with Blue Turf Talk with Chris V. He has exclusive rights with the recruits that are coming, C25 and C26, and he's been pushing out content on his site. So, and again, if you become a subscriber to some of those pay pages, tax deductible, and revenue shares with Boise State. So great content all around on all of our platform, on our empire here at Bronco Nation Updates and Blue Elevation. So and then just make sure you join us on Wednesday. It's going to be an awesome show with Abby, and I know that we're in the works with collaborating with Chris on another episode of his Blue Turf Talk with Chris. I think it's going to be a free one, so that should be dropping sometime this next week too. So yeah, we got lots going on with Bronco Nation updates, which is a product of Blue Elevation. So a lot of exciting things coming. So make sure that you're following all of our platforms. Follow Sam's Talk Sports. Very valuable resource for what we're doing in our group and our empire.
If I'm going to make an executive decision right now, because I'm the executive. If I hit 500 followers before the tournament challenge starts, I will put in another $150 on the prize pool. So
say that again. Now say that again and tell everybody where to find you.
Go to Facebook, Sam Talk Sports, hit the follow button. If I hit 500 followers before the tournament challenge starts, I'll put in another $150 to bring the prize money up to 300. So go hit that follow button. And remember, like Bronco Nation updates, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe or follow Sam Talk Sports on Facebook so you can get the maximum on your tournament challenge victory.
And for Sam and for myself, thanks for watching. And again, if you're on the replay or if you're on right now, do us a favor, a solid, and share this out and revenue share with Boise State with the views and the follows that go through that. So for Sam and me, thanks for watching, and go Broncos, ride or die.
Hey, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible plan, you are investing in Boise State and getting access to millions of views throughout the year on the directory and the Bronco Nation network.
Fight for the soul, my dear.